Hello there, geniuses. How you doing? I just sort of realized that here I am, the end of the first day of the year, January 1st, 2023, and I have been completely just burnt out, nothing left emotionally to share with anything or anyone today. And what a way to start the year, right? And I don't know, maybe I got some fellow INFJs out there listening who feel the same way. For me, maybe you can appreciate this. The holidays, Christmas, and that whole stretch into New Year's, it's just like I have such high hopes every year, and I want to do special things for certain people. Different ideas I get, whether it's gifts or just anything. Every year is different for me. And I don't know, maybe some of you have your traditional things that you do. But for me, every year is really just different and unique. And some things I plan and other things I'm just improvising as I go and trying to make it as special as possible. And we just tend to get burnt out as INFJs. And if you've been around for a while, you think, oh, I've got this figured out. Next time it's going to be different. And I'm going to rest before I get burnt out. And it doesn't happen. And it's just kind of funny because it just kind of sneaks up on us. And I've just realized the last couple of days that I didn't want to do anything except lay around. And I'm just using this few moments right here to go outside, get a little fresh air, and tell you what I'm thinking. But maybe some of you can empathize, sympathize, some kind of thighs with what I'm feeling right now, because I'm just pretty much done, and I'm glad that I have tomorrow off, because I think I'm going to be doing some more nothing mixed with my usual passions, and this being one of the new ones, is talking to you guys. So, I guess lesson learned, again for the 100th time, is when you need to rest, when you need to downshift, or pull away from craziness going on, such as dogs that are barking and some neighbor cursing at them right now. It was so quiet out here just a minute ago. But, whatever you have to do, you got to do it. And one of the difficulties of that for us INFJs is it always seems like people just do not understand, or aren't ready to understand, or give us that, I can't think of the word right now, but that grace, right? Like when I'm stressed out and I'm just done, I'm not usually really showing the stress or lashing out, although it does happen sometimes. I'm just wiped out, and maybe I got the headphones in and I'm just sitting there. I just don't want to be bothered. I'm not bothering anyone. Don't bother me, and we'll just be okay. But, it depends on the person, of course, at the time. But it's like you have to explain every little detail to them. Whereas for us, we can just read people. If they don't want to talk, we probably don't even have to ask them the question. It's just you walk into the room and you look at them, and you look at their expression on their face, and you're like, okay, I'm going to leave you alone for a little while. And it's almost that easy. So is true. We have to be maybe a little bit more open, a little bit more understanding when people don't get that for us. But I think it just gets irritating when we have actually vocalized certain things and it should be clearly obvious that we're not in the mood for anything, and they just keep coming at you, and keep almost like they want to stick it in your side a little bit. Maybe I'm just venting, but I think the INFJs here can understand and appreciate that. And I don't know what the moral of the story is here, other than escape farther, get away. Actually, that could be a good plan on the short term, is sometimes you need to get farther away. Like if you're really at that point where you're just done and you know you're not going to deal with other people well, it's probably a good time to take an hour, 30 minutes, whatever it may be for you, and totally get away. Go outside, go for a walk, bike ride, whatever it is, because that kind of recharges us anyway, I think. Most people, but definitely INFJs. And if you can't do that, I don't know, maybe you can do something active, even if it's around people. I was talking about exercise earlier this morning, but this is for a different reason. But when you have a busy work life and you don't have that option, I think you just really have to get creative. Use that creative mind and ingenuity to make sure you can regulate your emotions and vent. And I think most of us can find at least one person to vent to if we need to. And I don't know, 10, 15 years ago when I was much less mature with how I handled my emotions, I would do a fair amount of complaining to people that I trusted, but I probably shouldn't have trusted. Well, I know I shouldn't have trusted that much because they really weren't close friends. So there's nothing wrong with venting. Getting it out, that's important. Getting all those feelings, frustration, those complaints out. But there's probably only one or two people that you can do that with, that you can truly trust. And they're not going to talk about you. There's not going to be this gossip about you, which that's just going to, domino effect into other problems later. You won't notice it at first, but down the line, you definitely will. And that doesn't matter if it's personal, family stuff, or work, people. You won't notice it at first, but it will snowball effect and get worse later. So you're just going to have to take it from me on that one, from my experience, that there's not necessarily anything wrong with complaining because that's healthy for you emotionally, but it's got to be that one person you can really trust. And then once you get that kind of stuff out and they don't hold it against you because they're a good friend, it's much easier to move back on into the real world. You didn't shut yourself down and become a cave dweller or room dweller and just hide away. And it didn't take you days to process all that kind of stuff. You got your rest. You got some good food. You didn't turn into an alcoholic because that's not good. I've tried that too. Well, not really an alcoholic, but I've done enough drinking on and off at different times to know that it solves nothing. And so it's just wise to look at your problems for whatever they are at the time and make a clear choice of how you're going to deal with them. And doesn't mean it's going to be fun at the time, but handling it in the right way is being good to yourself. So anyway, I think that's all about I have for tonight, depending on where you are listening to this. And I'm going to go back to chilling and doing lots of nothing, I think, because it is nighttime for me and it's late enough that I'm just going to call it a day. So if you're listening, drop a comment, let me know. It's hard to tell sometimes, but I guess this is going to be the new thing for this year. So I don't know what I'm going to talk about other than what's on my mind at the time. And, it's just an INFJ speaking his mind and talking topics. And it's probably going to be a lot of one-way talk, especially at first, and that's okay. But at some point, maybe it could be a two-way talk. And I could be talking to you about things that are on your mind as well. And we could have a doubly anonymous conversation. Who knows? But for now, I'm just going with the flow, taking the journey each day as it comes. 2023 is going to be quite a year, no doubt. As you know, there's so much going on in the world, and without even knowing, I would assume that I'm not the only INFJ that has been predicting more than half of what's going on the last couple of years. And so without going into details yet about some of that stuff, and trust me, I am well researched and have an opinion on most of it. But I haven't quite decided what direction I want to go with those topics, partly because of the app that you're listening to me on, and I'm not planning to go to any other apps anytime soon anyway. So it will matter what I say, and if you're an INFJ who's done research of your own, then you already know what I'm talking about, and I don't need to explain that one any further. So I think I'll leave it right there for tonight, and I hope you all have a great rest of January 1st, or if you're already into the 2nd, maybe I'll quit dating videos after today because it won't be so big of a deal anymore. But it was interesting to start the channel on this day of the year, which was totally unplanned. So have a good one, and I'll talk to you later. See you, geniuses!